Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Just want to share today about what I imagine to be true health, and these are lessons that I learned from meditation. Now, of course, I don't pretend to know where this journey, where my life is headed, and perhaps not. That's not the point. Perhaps the point is to discover that the journey really is the exciting part. That's the part to actually pay attention to and enjoy. And the destination itself really is insignificant. I mean, the destination are expectations, and oftentimes they never turn out the way that we expect. And once we get to the destination, that's no longer the destination. There's another destination, right? So there's always room for disappointment, pain, and suffering, I imagine, when we're focused on the destination. So, I've realized that many of these kind of possessions of my mind are the very things that lead me into turmoil. So how can I be detached from the destination and be present in the moment to the journey, right? And these are the very thoughts that I imagine keep us experiencing pain instead of enjoying the moment, the only moment that is, the now moment, the present moment, the now space. So I've discovered some really amazing life-changing practices in my life, over the course of my life, over the course of my 30-year journey, through meditation, through breath work, through different types of injuries. And these are some of the lessons that I want to share with you, right? So some of the lessons in breath work and meditation. Let go of control. A quote that I love is let go and let God, right? And I imagine that I've always tried to control things in my life, and I imagine that when we do try to control the actions, our outcomes, situations, that things never really turn out fully how we expect. So if you think about that for a second, when is the last time you went into a certain situation or an event fully picturing how things would go, and it just happens that they don't turn out anything how you anticipate, right? And then you're either disappointed or you're upset. Think of the last time that you opened a present, for example. This is just kind of a fun one to play with, right? And you thought you knew it was something, maybe something you've been hoping for or asking for. The excitement builds as you get closer to ripping through the paper and into the box, only to find that it's something a little less exciting. Maybe a kitchen appliance or a tool set or underwear or socks. Now, I know, or at least I imagine that you know what I'm talking about. Suddenly your heart falls a little bit. You manage a half smile and a thanks. I really wanted that. It's not that you don't need these things or even that you don't appreciate them. It's just that it's not quite what you had anticipated, right? So let go of trying to control everything in your life and just go with the flow. Once you do, I imagine that you'll flow much more and find yourself much less disappointed with the way that you think things should have been, right? And you become detached from the outcome of things in your life. And that detachment doesn't mean you don't care about things. It just means you're able to flow much more in your life. Live in the present moment. So pain, hurt, disappointment all come from living in the past or worrying about the future, right? The past is gone. There's nothing we can do about it, right? And it has happened. It can't be changed, right? The only person you hurt by holding on to what happened in the past, wishing that it was different, wishing that you could go back, is you. It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. So let it go and free yourself, free your mind, free your body, right? There's no sense looking back. You're not going in that direction. So look forward, step forward. Where are you going in your life? Now, the flip side of things is that the future is something that never really comes, right? Things change at a moment's notice, especially today. So even if you're expecting to meet someone at this time or, not at all, and then suddenly the time changes or your schedules magically align, it enables you to actually spend time together, right? So there's no way for you to foresee what's actually happening. And that attachment to the outcome is what brings the pain. And as such, putting an emphasis on the future can only bring heartache, if things don't actually end up how you originally anticipated. Now, if your mind wanders, bring it back through some of the practices we've talked about. Breath work, bring it back to the present moment of what you're currently doing. Now, it does take practice, but if you remain present, right, and in the present moment, with all of your attention, all of your focus, you'll be truly amazed at what you can do and how well you can do it. You'll be amazed at how much of the past and future, that prison that you've created for yourself, it actually disappears and dissipates, and it leaves you with the only thing that truly matters, this moment. Think only with your heart. Now, this is a tough one in today's day and age because we've been so programmed to think about everything, think our way through it, right? Now, the constructs of the mind are truly what shackles us as beings. Again, this is my experience, my imagination, right? It is only when we lose our minds that we can truly come to our senses. That was actually a quote from one of my favorite movies, The Way of the Peaceful Warrior. Now, the mind is a reflex organ, right? And it fills with millions of random thoughts each and every day. Once we empty our minds of these unproductive thoughts, anything that keeps us from the only thing that matters, from this moment, here and now. It allows us to align more with those universal laws that I spoke of in previous videos. It allows us to come more in tune with what is in our hearts, right? Thinking and acting from the heart is much different than thinking and acting from the mind. And similarly, knowledge is not the same as wisdom. Wisdom is doing, right? So first we understand, right? Then we think about it, then we can embody it, right? So the embodiment is the doing, is the wisdom in action. So listen truly, listen to what is being said, right? What do you hear? Communication is seemingly so difficult in this day and age. People are in such a rush, so really ask yourself, are you really listening to what people have to say? Or are you just waiting for your turn to respond? Because there's a difference, right? Even though someone says a thing, their body language, their demeanor, even their energy could be saying something completely different, right? So do you ask for clarification, or do you just assume, do you just imagine that you know what is being said, that you know what the other person is feeling? Now, I want to dive into this just for a minute, right? Because there's a type of ownership that we can take around our communication. And a framework that I love through a men's group that I'm a part of called Men of Means is I notice, I feel, I imagine. Right? So I notice the way you're communicating. I imagine it's because you're angry with me, and that makes me feel scared. Right? So I notice is something I can record about the situation. Right? It's something that can be audio or video recorded. And then my imagination and my feelings are mine, right? And now I don't have to do anything, or you don't have to do anything about my imaginations or my feelings, right? And if I can communicate like that in full ownership, in full transparency, it can allow me to actually retrain my feelings, to retrain my nervous system, right? It opens the space for us to actually go deeper into the conversation, right? And it gives you the opportunity to respond, not to react, right? So as an example, you could say, thank you so much for sharing. I noticed your response and what you shared, and that makes me feel angry because I was actually not angry with you. I just feel upset about another situation. And so, I apologize for that. And is there anything that I can do to support you in your feelings? Right. So that's just a really kind of loose, easy example of what that communication can look like. Right. But the point is that when I take ownership for my stuff and I show up in that way with what I'm noticing, with what I'm feeling and what I'm imagining, it opens the space for clearer, deeper communication and for us to both to get to the root of our feelings, which really the feeling space, that's where we want to be. And so the next time you find yourself wondering what your significant other or someone else close to you means by what they say, play a little game, right? Once your partner has communicated, ask them or share with them, okay, so thank you for sharing. What I hear you saying is, or what this means to me is, right? Maybe you'll find out that your interpretation of their words are completely different than what they intended, than what they actually wanted to say, right? Or maybe they didn't properly convey what they meant to. Either way, it's a chance to slow things down and completely understand the people in your life and where they're coming from without projecting, without blaming, without playing the victim, right? We can take our power back and we can lovingly reflect and hold each other accountable. Right, so this practice really allows you to sidestep any confusion, misconception, misunderstandings, and you may find that you'll grow closer and build stronger, more loving, deeper connections and relationships with the people in your life. Now, I've had some injuries over the years, and um, I often joke that when I'm training, that pain is weakness leaving the body. Right, so after a not so recent injury, I had the succinct thought that my injury was actually a profound release of negative emotions, right? Or negative emotional energy. And I also remember that I had had a shiatsu treatment the evening of my injury. Now, while the treatment itself was painful, it wasn't agonizing, but I was I was blubbering. I was crying like a baby, right? And it was so unreal to me. That's why it's so memorable, that at the time I didn't put two and two together. But afterwards, as I continued to think about the entire experience, I realized just how connected everything was and is. Right? I realized that another part of, kind of my subconscious, or the shadows, if you will, that I've been battling over that period of time, over the past number of months, was gone. The injury itself actually occurred in my groin, right? The low abdominal area, like right in here. Right? And if you actually look at that area energetically, the psoas is considered the seat of the soul by many. Right? It is located deep within the front of the hip joint and kind of connects the lower spine. So the psoas is really the only muscle that connects the upper and lower body. And emotionally, it actually acts as a messenger to and from the brain, and is said to store many deeply rooted feelings. And it's of course connected to the root chakra, which is near the perineum in the lower part of the body. Right. So in fact, they say that the tighter your psoas is, perhaps the more deeply rooted the feelings are that you could be holding on to. Now, this can also affect the flow of energy throughout the entire body. Right. So, we're truly energetic beings, and when we can connect the dots with the energies, the emotions, and the muscles and the body, we can really begin to transform everything. So I actually had a similar journey where I did a food sensitivity test, and I began taking key nutrients that my body was missing, right? So now I've always thought that my energy was at optimal levels, and it always has been, right? I've always had really, really high energy, but I always seem to have this low grade nasal congestion, food sensitivities, and different things like that. And I deem that to be normal, right? Now, while my energy was good, it actually shot through the roof after eliminating the foods in question that were causing the nasal congestion and adding key nutrients that I was missing, and the nasal congestion is gone. Now, likewise with this emotional spiritual journey that we're all on, right? I had no idea how these emotions were affecting me until I began this journey. I mean, I was always in a decent mood. I never let things get to me. And, I was always kind of the happy-go-lucky guy, and bingo, right? That's one of the keys right there. I never let anything get to me, right? I always held on to my feelings. I always had this mask over things. I never actually knew how to feel my feelings, right? And seldom did I say what was exactly on my mind. In fact, I still have difficulty with that sometimes, and going back to the framework of I notice, I feel, I imagine has been a big help with that. But I really became afraid and developed anxiety because of this. And no matter what I achieved or how well I did in my life, I was never really happy inside, even though by any measure of the external world, I should have been. But no amount of possession, of money, of success, of material things ever really brought me happiness. Only as my internal world began to change, as my vantage point and my outer world become a reflection of that. Our outer world truly is a reflection of what's going on inside of us. So the point is, we don't know, right? Until we've gone through something, until we admit that maybe something isn't quite right, whatever that may be. whatever that may be, right? But we have to admit it, decide to look, learn, and grow, right? And look from within. And otherwise, we'll just continue to believe that this is the way that it is, and I've always felt this way, or my energy's always been this level, or I've never really slept well, right? My stomach's always been messed up, or I just can't learn, or I can't grow, or I've never really been able to let people in or get close with others, right? This is as good as it gets. This is normal for me. Just because it's normal does not mean that it's optimal. So take a look at what you can change both inside and out. And in order to change the outside, you must first change the inside, right? You can elevate, you can transcend your world, but it starts from within. Aldous Huxley, a great English writer, said, the only corner of the world we can change is our own selves. So while this journey has been one of the most difficult ones of my life, it has also been the most rewarding, right? So by far. Now I'm finally learning to let go of the shackles of my mind and live truly free and in the moment, right? Just as steel is forged in the hottest of fires, I believe that it is in the toughest of times that we can truly delve deep, right? So that means we can adapt, we can find unprecedented strength and growth, right? Now, I'm also calling in ease and grace because I believe the hottest of fires was, in those difficult times, that was the past, but we can call in ease and grace and begin learning in the present moment without having to go through the difficult times. I truly believe that, and so if you are going through a difficult time, I invite you to go within to learn some of the tools, right? Again, whether it's meditation or breath work or using the candle to be present or whatever it is that you can do to be more present in your life, to go within, to begin to change your state, your mental state, your emotional state, your physical state. And when you do that, you're going to raise your vibration. You're going to begin to feel better. You're going to begin to notice those emotions. You're going to be able to tap into and release those emotions, to peel them back like the layers of the onion. Right? And when you do that, you're going to start to optimize how you think and how you feel. And you're going to have more energy. You're going to have more focus. You're going to sleep better. Right? And so if this video resonated with you, I want you to give a like, click subscribe, turn on notifications, and follow the journey, as I'm going to be sharing more and more videos about all of my learnings, all of my understanding, as well as lots of inspirational stuff. And if you want to go a level deeper, I invite you to check out the Origen.network community, the ecosystem, and we've got all kinds of incredible tools, deeper breath works, deeper meditations, movement and workout programs. We've got all of these things set up for you to support you on your journey back to the origin, back to yourself, back to optimal health, and to be able to truly live life to the fullest in every way, shape, or form, and on every level. And as always, I'm Davy, and I will see you at the next video.